Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trust Me, Bro. My name is Ryan. With me is Yakuza, and this is a show that talks about the latest news, culture, and collects on the Lens protocol. Yakuza, how you doing today?
Hey, hey
Oh, switching
everyone.
it up. Hey.
Sounds familiar, right?
Ah,
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Busy week, another one. Yeah, we are here again for another Trust Me Bro show, the sixth one. Can you believe this?
yeah, sick. We're on a
Yeah,
roll. On a roll.
1.5 months already. And today with a great guest, but before that, what are you drinking?
Oh, going right into it, huh? I am drinking coffee that, first of all, I roast my own coffee. So this was roasted 2 days ago, and I am sad to see this go because this is the last batch of probably my favorite coffee ever. And yeah, it's from Vietnam, and the reason I'm drinking it is because, first of all, the space is earlier. So for me, it's noon right now. I had a late night last night. Yesterday was like the first day back to work. The strike is over, so now I have an actual job again. So I'm back to work, and yesterday was just like a quick setup day. Afterwards, we got out early, and then there was a little celebration going on, and that carried into the night. And you know, because this is how we met, but basically, if I follow you on Instagram, and if you post like a good drink, if it's like good beer or good alcohol, I will always respond. I will always respond with some kind of fire emoji or applause or whatever. That is always the thing. When Jesse Fries posts a picture of a beer, that is the only thing that I do. I just immediately react. When you post beer, I immediately react. And yesterday, I can't believe I get to say this phrase, friend of the show, Amber, she had posted something about drinking, like a meme or whatever, and I was already in progress. I was like, hey, come drink. And she said, yeah. So we met up last night.
Our Amber.
Our Amber, yeah, from
Wow.
Lens. And yeah, it was a good time. She, I believe, is the first person that I've met from the Lens ecosystem in real life, which we'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, that was good. It kind of made up for me missing ETHGlobal last week, which was just so disappointing. So today, right now, I'm just drinking coffee and I'm a little slow. I apologize in advance, but this is where I'm at right now. Well, what do you have going on there?
I'm drinking a dark Krušovice. It's another Czech brand. So I'm sticking with all the Czech beers that I'll find until I move to another country, beer-wise, of course. So it's brewed in a small town called Krušovice. It's in the South Moravian region, which is like in the south of Czech Republic by the border with Slovakia and Austria on the west. And yeah, they've got also good wine region, but also good beer. And I'm gonna tell you this, and many people will be surprised. For me, this dark beer is better than a Guinness. You're drinking coffee. This beer, it's with some caramel and roasted coffee aroma, so it's really good. So I'm
Perfect.
starting also slow and soft, because yesterday was bank holiday here, and yeah, I need to take it easy. And today is Friday. Yeah, I'm okay with the dark beer for now.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I'm jealous of that. I really do like dark beers if they're in that style. If they have that coffee, a little chocolate going on, I'm right there. That one I'm jealous of. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I'm not quite a fan of dark beer. I like it every now and then, but yeah, this one, and I wanted to bring something different to the show. And yeah, speaking about the show,
Yeah.
let's see what we are going to talk about today.
We have Tommy Thomas on as a guest.
We've got Tommy Thomas. It's the highlight of the show, let's say. We're gonna talk about Hey, just touch base on that topic. We're gonna talk about It Global New York City, your city, lens performance. You will explain to me what the fuck is base paint, because I didn't understand the shit and I didn't want to dive on that because I want to hear from you. There are some MadFi updates that I'd like to talk through. You've got some new Web3 game on the block to explain to us. We would like to give a shout out to It Daily, podcast and newsletter. Then, of course, we're going to have our Trusted Talent Week results. Then we're going to wrap up and we're going to talk with Tommy from Yamitopedia about what is Yamitopedia. So, yeah, hopefully it's going to be a great show. So, we should start with Hey, former
Hey.
Lens.
Hey. Everybody uses Lenster, right? That is the Facebook app of Lens protocol. It's by far the most used. And I always feel nerdy when I explain to my friends, like, I just go to this thing called Lenster. And they're like, what the hell is that, right? And so Lenster yesterday just dropped a bombshell on everyone. They changed the name to Hey. I love it. I think it's great. I think this is so much more accessible to outsiders because it pushes the protocol in the background. We're no longer talking about Lens itself. We just talk about the apps that are built on it and don't have to worry about that. What do you think? What's your take?
I understand. Yeah, and I agree with you why they have changed the names. I think they want to detach a little bit from Lens protocol because even when I joined Lens, which was 1 year and 1 week ago, congrats to myself, I understand, but even at the beginning, I was confused. Okay, I created the Lens profile now. Where is the social media app? And then I found out, okay, it's Lenster, because by that time we didn't have Orb, we didn't have Buttrfly, it was only Lenster. And then the second one, I think it came Favor, but it's like some kind of different app. So I understand that they want to detach a little bit from the name Lens protocol. Just like we've got Buttrfly, just like we've got Orb, which is quite already easy to identify for those who are in the Web3 social media apps. Other than that, I think for now it's just the cosmetic changes together with the name. I don't think they have changed anything other than the branding. They are getting ready for the V2. So I think changing the name can be a good one.
Yeah, I don't even think they needed to change anything else. To me, it was just a name thing where, okay, you're still focusing on Lens. And like I said, I think it just buries the tech. And now it just becomes like when you go to Orb, you don't have to explain. It's just a social media app. You could also use Buttrfly and you can also use Favor. And now you can also use Hey. And they don't have to worry about Lens. Yeah, I'm happy to see them grow up there. I think I saw someone post a comment about that, like they graduated or something like that. That was like exactly how I feel. They're just upgrading here. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, let's see what's coming next with the V2 and the open actions. So they are getting ready, which is good. So next up, ETHGlobal.
Yeah, this should be my story, but this is going to be your story. Because
Can be yours. Go on.
Here's the thing. Let me just explain. ETHGlobal, I'm looking forward to this for months in advance. Obviously, I'm pretty bullish on Lens. I love Lens. I can't wait to finally meet all the people that I want to meet. Been talking about it. Even we were talking to Nico Gallardo. I was like, oh man, I'm going to see you next week, all that kind of stuff. And what happens, I had one day of work, like a surprise day of work. I think I got sick during that day from someone in the city. And man, I was wiped out for 5 or 6 days straight. I was gone. And even Ronak from Revise, he was supposed to meet up with me and he got sick too. And then it just turned into a waste. I missed the entire thing and I can't believe it. I can't believe, again, I was supposed to meet up with Amber. We were supposed to meet up with Brad and Christina and Stani. It was supposed to be this great thing. And I couldn't do it. I was sick, man. I think he was. But yeah, I missed everything. So this is your story, sadly, and it took place in my city. So yeah. Go for it. What happened?
So Lens stood out as the protocol with the most composable apps built on it, way ahead of the other protocols. We can see more than 15 composable apps built on it. And yeah, then we've got a post from Lens themselves highlighting 4 or 5 apps that I'd like to talk us through. So some examples of these apps that were developed during the ETHGlobal NYC. 2 examples are like mostly pure DeFi apps and 2 social apps. So the best Lens app was considered ZeroFi, which is a funny one. It's about collateral loans, which take us to the last week's episode and to our last guest. And I got the details about this web development from Nico Capital, because he was like, bro, these guys literally are doing what Nico was talking about a lot in the last show. So basically, you can apply for a loan based on your social value, let's say. So were these guys listening to us? Maybe yes. The next one, it's Ruby Ring. It's a social interactions app with the Web2 login. So you can basically log in with a Google account. It's like some kind of good stuff for onboarding people. Even though that I'm a little bit skeptical with that, but yeah, it's good for onboarding. Then this was considered the most original Lens app. Best social fi Lens app was Upper Social. So basically here you can invest by buying fragments of your favorite creator's success. So it's some friend tech kind of thing that it's coming on Lens. So this was just developed and I think it's not set up yet. Then we had best lens integration. It's called Quick Connect. And this is a funny one. It's like a Tinder function. It allows you to quickly connect with nearby or other Web3 social users. So Quick Connect is an app to find nearby users and explorers of the Web3 space, not only on Lens, but you can check profiles around you geographically, IRL, if they are on Lens, Farcaster, if they have got pull-ups, if they are on XMTP, or if they simply have NFTs on OpenSea or any kind of other market. So they use ultrasound waves to search for nearby users. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like Tinder for Web3 and for on-chain people. And the last one that I would like to highlight, it was considered the best lens integration. So it's called Make a Meet. Again here, I think they went on and they were chasing dating apps functions. So it's like a matchmaking. So you can search for designers through XMTP. And if you got a project or some simply design that you want to get some feedback, you can search on this app by another similar profile to yours. And then you can get in touch with them, ask to be connected, and you can ask for feedback on XMTP. So it's like cross-functional app. So you'll see it wherever you've got XMTP. Yeah, they use XMTP and matchmaking. So they will cross-check your profiles. I didn't get the chance to understand how, but man, this is evolving. And I remember 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were having this chat that we wanted to use more functions and push the guys from XMTP to do something else for us through XMTP for the show. So here's some new things that they are starting to develop. So basically, after meeting your match, you can start a chat with another person and get the feedback. And this makes me think that there's much more potential here, that like for job hunt, for job search and stuff like that. This is just, they are just opening the gate for this. What do you think?
Yeah, both the last two ones, the Quick Connect and Maker Meet, very interesting to me because I think there's so much data on chain already. And on one hand, I'm surprised it's taken this long, but I do understand it's actually hard to look at the data, but I know it's possible, right? And so if you have the app Converse, it will show you people that you match with. You both follow each other on Lens, you follow each other on Farcaster, here's their .eth. It proves like all this information proving that it's a real person, that you know that person, that it's legit. And so any apps that do that, like these two, I get so excited about it. There was a podcast recently, I think it was with Balaji, and he had mentioned about like the early days of map making. It took a while for people to figure out how to make like very accurate geographical maps. And he was equating that with where we're at right now, where we don't really know how to do that with all this social data. Like it's coming together. But when I look at these two apps, I'm like, oh yeah, this is part of that. We have to figure out, how do you map it? How do you represent it? It can be visual, it can be in other ways. And so I love seeing people try and figure this out. And obviously there's like tons of great use cases for that. But yeah, those two in particular get me excited because I love watching how people connect all the dots and figure out how to make sense of everything.
Another thing that I think is quite important is just, as you mentioned in another show, it's just like giving a step. You don't need to develop everything. Also, like these big websites like Facebook and stuff, they were not built all at the same time, like all the projects. So these little dots will become quite important for the future. And if you want to like geographically build your on-chain map like we do it now with Google Maps, I think this is a step forward. So yeah, shout out to these guys who are building this stuff. And I think we are now ready to go to the next one that you are the expert.
Oh,
I've seen some posts.
I've become a Basepaint maxi. I love this app. I've been following it since the beginning, and it was one of those where from day one, I'm like, oh, I know I should mint this, and then I didn't. And it took me, I think the first one I minted was like day 14 or 15, somewhere in there. And oh my God. So Basepaint is this app where every day there's one blank canvas, and it only lasts for 24 hours. And anyone who has a brush is allowed to contribute a certain amount of pixels, and every day there's a theme. Like yesterday was a theme about cats, and there are hundreds of people coming together painting pictures of cats, and there's a chat in there, so everyone's coordinating and trying to figure out, okay, maybe I'll put Catwoman, okay, we can put that over here, and we can put Garfield over here. All the coordination is happening in the chat, and on the left you'll see the canvas and the painting tools, and then on the right you'll see the chat. And yeah, so it's hundreds of people coming together, and over 24 hours, the painting just keeps evolving and changing, and it always ends like phenomenally well. Like they all just come out so incredibly well. And then when that 24-hour period is over, then it spends another 24 hours in minting. So people have 24 hours to buy the thing, and it's only $4. All of the contributors, all the painters, get a cut of that revenue, right? All that money goes to them, split according to how much they've contributed. So some people, like myself, I only have a brush that lets me do 100 pixels, but other people who are more established artists, they will contribute like 500 or 1,000 pixels or maybe even more, and so they will get a bigger cut of the revenue. There are people that are making like a couple $100 a day, and so what really got my attention then was the other day, I had no idea that this was even coming, but they were like, oh, today's theme is the Lens Garden. They teamed up with Lens Protocol. And I had to get in there. That was the first time where I was like, okay, wait a minute. I've had a brush. I'm not an artist, and I don't consider myself to be able to contribute anything positive to this, right? Especially when it's like, when you're like 8 hours into the thing, and I'm like, what could I possibly draw that would make this look good? And I found like a little paint bucket that needed filling in, so I was able to spend my 100 pixels that way, helping out there, and then the whole thing got erased anyway, whatever. But it was so exciting when it locked, and it went over to minting, and in 2 hours, it already hit 1,406 mints. So that was already breaking records. And it ended up becoming the most minted one other than the very first one. So that one has, I forget if it's 5,000 or 10,000. Like everybody bought that because it's the first, and obviously. But since then, these numbers are typically in the like anywhere from 600 to maybe 2,000 for a big one. And this ended up at 3,400. This is the power of Lens. This is people coming in and realizing, okay, here's a whole social network. And we're seeing a lot of close collaboration between the base chain and Lens Protocol. So my gut feeling is telling me like there's going to be more things coming out of base and Lens pushing things forward together.
I think there's another good opportunity here for an open action.
Yeah.
So at the moment, according to what you explained, you need to log into this Basepaint.xyz.
Yep.
I think this will be much easier if you would just have a button or even a community where you could just access it directly through Lens.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about this is if you go to their site, you can look at the entire gallery of everything that's been done. We're up to day 50 something, and you can see all the stats and all that kind of stuff. But all of the artwork is under the CC0 license. So you can do whatever you want with this commercially. Anybody could do something with this. I've already seen one person is making physical books, and they look so good. I'm like, I will absolutely buy that. They look phenomenal.
What happened then when you finish some of these, let's call it collaborative paintings? What happens then?
Yeah, you can buy them for 24 hours, and then that's it. And so some of them are super limited, like especially in the early days, there's some that only have like 200 and some mints, and they're all NFTs, and you could do whatever you want with them. And again, being that this is CC0 and that this is all collaborative, I bet we're going to see a lot more apps coming out that uses these NFTs and more commercial applications from this. It's just so fun to see. This is exactly what the blockchain is for. Any kind of social app on a blockchain, like the number one superpower there is collaboration, and this app is doing it, and they're doing it in all the right ways. They're sharing the revenue. They're making everything as accessible as possible. And so I think this is really setting a standard for how social apps and how social art apps can work. So I highly recommend everybody go check out Basepaint.xyz. Even if you just leave it up in a window, you don't even do anything. If you just watch it, it's so fun to watch people collaborate in real time, coordinate,
I'll have a look.
Yeah, it's very calming, very relaxing. Yeah, that was just so cool that the lens one is outside of the first day. This is like the highest minted
Wow,
one. That was awesome.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Next up, so I just wanted to touch base on MadFi, just a quick update. And if you guys are attending our live spaces, you got this alpha dropped in first hand. That MadFi protocol is all about creating subscriptions and supporting creators to get some revenue. So the creators can now set up the subscription on MadFi. So it's now currently live. They are offering the lowest fees of any Web2 platform, currently set at 5%. They've got some easy interface to create gated posts for subscribers with text, video, or audio. So they are covering all the types of content. You can cash out at any time. You can earn USDC on Base, real-time money streams, that it's going to be powered by Superfluid, like I've mentioned a couple of weeks ago. And soon they are going to offer you to get your posts to social token holders. So you can integrate this with FriendTech. So you can create content especially for your FriendTech investors, let's say, or to the pools one. And you're gonna have also the gated live streams, like I also mentioned. This is coming up quite soon. I just wanted to give a shout out to this protocol once again, because now it's live. And if you go there, you can see that some bounties are already live. So I think the first official bounty was created by Nether. You just need to go there to MadFi dashboard and check what Nether bounties is about. It's just like to post some stuff on Orb in the developer community. And the budget for that is 120 Matic. And the MadFi themselves, they also created now a new bounty just to promote the subscriptions launch. So yeah, it's live. And the reason why I wanted to mention this is because we are a little bit ahead of this launch and we dropped the news here. And yeah, huge shout out to our on-chain friend Carlos Beltran. I think one day we should get him in the show to explain. I believe it's not only him, but it's like quite a small team. Yeah, and they're building something quite huge.
Yeah, they're great. They're doing great stuff. They keep shipping, and I love to see it. Carlos is great, and the whole team's great. Next up, this was such good timing. Christina made a post saying congratulations to Pirate Nation. And I guess they raised some money, and they are now on Lens. And Pirate Nation is this on-chain game. And it was just funny because we do a production meeting for this podcast a day before. So yesterday, I had just listened to a podcast with the founders of this, with the people creating this. And that podcast blew me away, and we'll put the link in the show notes. It's well worth listening to. And Yakuza put this link in for the show today. And I was like, I didn't see this on Lens, but I just listened to the founders. They're incredible. And they are the same people that created Farmville back in the day. And they sound like they are doing everything right. All the philosophy is right. They have a track record of being right consistently. And in the interview that I listened to, the founder was saying things that I rarely hear from people. And he just totally understood the value prop of, if you put assets on chain, if the whole game is on chain, then other people can modify the game. I usually phrase that differently. I say anyone can make the data valuable, and maybe people don't always understand that. I liked his phrasing of it better. He was like, anyone can mod the game. I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense, right? You can have this on-chain game, and if you don't like it, just move over and build something else. It looks cool, and they're on Lens, so I would say, if you want to support gaming, let's maybe go over there, give them a follow. They only have, I think, like 15 or so. Yeah, definitely check that out. What did you think about it?
I'm not a gamer, but I think this is quite interesting. And I know that you are not a gamer, but you like this stuff. And what made me feel like, okay, we need to talk about that. They've raised $33 million as a small startup. And they didn't need to be on Lens, but they are on Lens.
I didn't realize it was that much money. That's incredible.
43 million from A16Z Crypto. Yeah, they were the biggest funders. And I believe they are going to bet a lot on building on Lens. And you're saying that they've got 16 followers. So if you want to, and it's going to be like some kind of play to earn game, some pirate stuff and building some kind of structure. So yeah, if anyone who is listening to us likes gaming, just go there. It's quite early. They've got only 16 followers. So yeah,
they have tens of thousands of, I think it's 60,000 or something like that on Twitter. I would love to see people support them here on Lens too.
55K.
Yeah, they're big time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. Let's see. I'm not a gamer, but I would like to play around with it. Next up, I decided to pick this one. It's about the Eat Daily hitting 300 episodes. And yeah, they celebrated it by dropping an NFT on Base so you could collect, celebrate. And I think, our podcast colleague is listening to us live. Congrats to you, mate. This is one man show. It's a daily podcast. It's not only a podcast, it's a newsletter. And Ryan and I now, we understand and we know what's the work behind building a show. And I can't believe, or I can't even imagine that one day we could manage to do this on a daily basis. And most likely our podcast colleague has got probably also another job. I don't know. But one day we're also planning to have him in the show. It's in our guest list. And hopefully soon he will come in and talk us through his experience and how he's doing this. But yeah, 300 episodes, daily ones. I listen to them every day. You've got also the newsletter. So if you're not following Eat Daily on Lens and across all the platforms, go there, give him a follow. And yeah, you will love the content. Yeah. Do listen to that.
Yes. The waveform, an audiogram thing. I mean, if you've seen the video version of this show or if you've seen our audiograms, that's exactly where I took it from. That was the influence where when I saw ETH Daily, I was like, oh, that's cool. I never really noticed before. I was like unaware of audiograms really. And yeah, just seeing the waveform and just the way that was coming out every day, I was like, oh, that's cool. And it's very recognizable with the branding, with the bright yellow and everything. That heavily influenced how we're doing our show. And, here we are at episode 6. I'm struggling with once a week. I don't know how anyone does it daily, and 300, that's incredible. That's, well done to you. Everyone should mint this celebration because we need to support all the podcasts here. We're hoping that many more people decide to launch podcasts here. And yeah, just congratulations. And I think next up we have the Trusted Talent winner.
Yeah, so we had 14 nominations. I think it was like the week where we had more nominations. We had also 11 collects. Thanks everyone for collecting and for bringing up all these 14 nominations. And the winner for this week is the post by Pedro Villela. The art was made by Soyu, aka Not Gonna Make It, with 39 likes. I think this was like the post that got more likes ever since we launched this nomination sideshow. It's really simple art, really nice. If you're not following Not Gonna Make It, just give him a follow. It's really minimalist and really nice art, and as you can see, it's not static. It's some interesting different art. The second place was shielded by Side Talker. The art was by Stefan Draws, and it's also an interesting and really amazing one. And this creator, they've got only 58 followers. So if you're not following Stefan Draws, give them a follow because it's Lisa Simpson kind of art. It's really nice. And he deserves much more followers because he's got really interesting and amazing art and he's sharing it and making collectibles. So give them a follow, please. And the third one was a post shared by Mary from Zoe. She's amazing. And this was another color palette that Mary suggested. And I hope, with all the respect for the others, I hope and I believe so one day we'll win this because she deserves. She's quite consistent. She's on Lens quite a long time ago. And she's posting amazing color palettes. And I believe that one day she'll take this win home because she deserves it. That's it for today in regards to Trust Me Bro Trusted Talent Week. And yeah, once again, thanks everyone for the nominations and collects. Ryan, what do you think?
I think it's great. I also want to point out we have 33 Matic now. So I want to do something special with that. Thank you to everyone who is donating and nominating and voting and everything. I love seeing how the coordination is coming together, and hopefully we can improve the voting process and everything. But yeah, thank you to everybody. And next up,
Tommy.
Hello.
Tommy.
Hello. What's up?
I don't know.
How you doing, Tommy? Welcome to the show.
No, thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. And yeah, let's start with a short intro about yourself. Who is Tommy?
Who is Tommy Thomas? No, thanks guys again for having me on the show. I can't tell you enough how much the last 5 episodes have been super interesting to listen to, and literally just been working, doing my own thing and listening to the show in the background. It's really great that the culture is being expressed in this way. So I really appreciate you guys and what you guys are doing. But my name is Tommy Thomas. I'm a remote builder. I'm very into indie hacking. I'm very into emerging tech and digital beauty and exploring what all that has to offer. I actually have a background in politics, law, and human rights. So it's very different from, I guess, what I do in Web3 and in the tech space. But yeah, so I was big into working in the nonprofit sector. That's a big passion of mine, human rights and human rights law. I was working at places like UNICEF, Amnesty International, OHCHR, which is the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights at the UN. And I was in the Myanmar team at the start of the most recent Myanmar coup, which was crazy. And that was 2021. Yeah, it's a crazy time. I've always been into starting things, founding different projects, working on different things. Even back to when I was in high school, when I was playing in a band, I always wanted to go about it in a very professional way. I was selling merch so we can pay for our demos and stuff like that. So I've always been that kind of person who's been trying to build projects and trying to make something happen. And yeah, investing and whatnot. So that really got me into Web3, not only for the investment side of things. At some point, really started thinking about what potential this tech had for uplifting the vast majority of people, not just a few people. And that really interested me as a concept. And I first came into Web3 or crypto rather from the DeFi side of things, and then I discovered NFTs and then just went balls to the wall into Web3, and I've been working in Web3 full time since 2021, mainly in the SocialFi space. And that I've been working for projects, so-called, for a long time. And right now I have my own agency called Patchy Funk. So we're really interested in adoption optimization and building adoption optimized projects, helping different projects build in an adoption optimized way and build interesting products and apps in that direction. Yeah, and most recent project that I've been building is Yummytopia, and I've been really getting into actually talking a lot more about remote building and what that entails, what that could be, and yeah, I'm super interested in that as well.
You are always highlighting across your platforms and also through your posts how important it is for you to work remotely. I share the same opinion with you, but other people are they were happy to go back to the offices. And this came up for most of us during COVID times. And I was in the UK by that time. So I know I suffered also the pain to be stuck in the island, but work-wise was a good one for me. And I now found a job that allows me to work all the time from home and got into this stuff. Is it also important for you? Because you can work with side projects and jump into whatever you want to jump, and having the flexibility to work remotely brings to it. Is this why it's so important for you?
Yeah, I think why it's so important for me is because since from a very young age, I've always had this in my mind. I never wanted to work in an office. I wanted to be my own boss, yada, yada, yada. I wanted to be a rock star when I was in high school, just putting it out there. I played guitar, I played in a band, and I actually went to Berklee College of Music for 3 months in Boston in 2014. And there's where I decided, okay, maybe music is not for me as a profession, but I've always had it in my head that I wanted to be my own boss and I didn't want to be in an office. And before COVID, that wasn't very possible. It was very normal pre-COVID you to go to an office and that just be the thing. You being location locked. That was a big thing for me that I don't like about that kind of going to the office type of work is the location lockedness of it. I would love to travel as I please, and I'm organized enough to figure out when I need to do the work. I'm in Paris right now. Like, I was in the UK this morning.
How do you have time? Like, how do you find the time? You just said you're very organized. So what's the secret? Do you block out like, oh, every day from 9 to 12, I do this? What's the secret there? Because I am struggling.
Yeah, I usually have a very strict schedule of working from 9 to 6 and then being able to fit things accordingly within those times. I used to work around the clock, like all the time, and I burnt out. It was really unhealthy, and that's something I had to learn myself. But yeah, I think the key word is systems. Like, you got to build systems for yourself, whether that's systems that enable you to remember all the things you need to remember to work on different projects at the same time, or systems that automate things so that you can more easily work on things or a lot of things in a lesser amount of time. And I think it's really worth taking the time to organize those systems to enable yourself to travel and do all these different projects at the same time. And I think, like, for me, why remote work is important is because it allows for a lot more freedom in what I'm able to do, whether that's in travel, the type of work I'm engaging with. And I must say, you kind of have to work to a certain point to put yourself in that position where you can, like, approach projects and companies in a certain way where they'll allow you to work and engage with them in the way that you want, because not everyone has that sort of luxury, and something I feel like a lot of people might have to work up to, or maybe they're building projects that work out and they can sustain themselves otherwise. But yeah, systems is really important, but the freedom side of things is why I find it really important.
And do you have a home base currently, or are you just constantly moving every couple months?
Yeah, so I'm actually doing my PhD. I researched human rights in Southeast Asia at Birkbeck College of London. And so the UK is like my home base, mainly because of my visa, like my student visa with the PhD. Like, I have to see my supervisor once in a while. That's very chill though. Like, I only speak to him like once every 3 weeks, and he kind of lets me do my thing, research and whatnot. But I don't have to go to classes or anything. It's just my own research, right? I'm writing my own dissertation and researching my own topic. Yeah, that's why the UK is a bit of a home base. But Vienna, where I grew up, Vienna, Austria, is like a place I visit like quite often. My parents are still there, so I go see them. Yeah, and I'm from Thailand, so I want to make Thailand a home base. Like, I want to go make Thailand a home base.
So do I.
It really looks like a vibe.
So do I.
Yeah, it's very compelling.
I remember that
place to
the
be.
first time we spoke, I think once you were in Vienna and I was in Prague, but I travel quite often to Bratislava, and it's half an hour, 45-minute drive. I kind of have the same lifestyle now that you have. And I share the same feeling that it's quite important to have this freedom. I work also in another side project. I've got my main job, which is now IT project manager. So I work full-time remotely. And then I've got another side job for a wine club and now the podcast, preparing everything. But if this kind of side dishes, let's say, for me, it's like more pleasure than work. And for instance, yesterday it was bank holiday here, and I had to attend my second project call, community call, but I was in a beer garden because it was bank holiday here, and I was, what the fuck, I'm not going to stay at home. And then, as Ryan mentioned, one day before the show, we have a weekly prep call to discuss what we're going to talk about. And I was just teasing Ryan and showing him around where I was staying and drinking, having a beer or two, and keep doing stuff. So yeah, I fully agree with that. I'm with it. I can't imagine myself going back to a full-time job in the office.
You'll know there's also the flip side of it, right? There's the flip side of it where if you are your own boss in this way and you're dictating your time and that, there's also the element of you're also constantly working in some sense, like constantly trying to organize. And sometimes you might be in a situation where like maybe you've traveled somewhere with your friends, but you got to sit in the Airbnb and bang out some work or jump on some calls. So there's also that side of things. But I think, there's pros and cons to it.
But there are worse cases than our.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about delicious and good things and good life. What the hell is Yamitopia?
Yeah, so I'll call it a passion project for now because I have this bad habit, or maybe it's a good habit. I know you guys tell me of turning all these passions that I have into a side hustle or like a project or like something like a business or whatnot. And I just decided that I needed to do something for fun, and that's like a passion of mine. And then I failed, and obviously it became so much more, and I just fell into my ways of turning it into a side something. But yeah, Yummytopia started as a passion project because I wanted to create a community around foodies and food. I like food, I love food, I love exploring food and drinks. Like me and my friend, for example, have this thing where like whenever we go out to eat, it's always a different place. We're always trying to explore different places to eat. And I got accepted into BuildSpace season 4. Have you guys heard of BuildSpace?
I've heard of it, but I actually did want you to explain that. What is it? And I believe that's where this came from, right?
This is where it all started. BuildSpace is basically an idea school. It's like an accelerator, incubator, but not really. You can get accepted, and all you have on the first day is an idea, like a conception of an idea. And the whole week is actually like you refining what that idea would be. And the whole 6 weeks worth of BuildSpace is them taking you through the process of coaching you through it, but it's really up to you to build out what you want to build out, of going from idea to basically a demo and building a community around it, launching something. And at the end of the 6 weeks, there's this demo day where you can show it and people can win money and whatnot. But I feel like it's a really nice structured way of maybe taking an idea that you might have had and making it happen in some sense. And I've had this idea of making a foodie community, making a foodie-based project. And that's what I went to BuildSpace season 4 with this Yummytopia idea. And I built that out over the 6 weeks, and it's evolved. It all started with this idea. I thought the way we discover food is so lame. Yelp, or you could go on Google, and it's like the most unsocial thing. You just search, and then you just like maybe you see how many stars there are, and that's the extent of it, aside from people maybe recommending you stuff and that. So I really like the idea of like foodie playlists, like the idea of taking music playlists but replacing the songs with restaurants and places. And I thought it would be awesome if there was an app where people could curate foodie playlists for, let's say, Japan. Like someone could curate like a whole playlist around Japan and add their favorite restaurants in Japan, or even narrow it down to a city, like a playlist for a city, or even to a menu and curate what people should be ordering at a certain menu. Because I know a friend who actually looks for that, like what dishes should I actually pick at a certain restaurant. So I was thinking it'd be cool to even curate someone's experience at a particular restaurant and make that whole experience like quite social and whatnot. But yeah, the app is still something I would love to do. It's something that's difficult for me to do as one person who's a non-technical dev, a non-technical individual. But I think that's an exciting idea in itself. But I think there's so much value. I think like in Web3, it's very normal to start with a community and then around an interest and then serve them an app that they would use. So that's why right now I think I'm focusing a lot more on the community and different aspects of the project that I think are much easier for me to build out. Like for example, the Yummy drops, which are going to be like monthly clothing drops, essentially foodie themed clothing drops that I'm hoping to work with different partners on, and proceeds of that actually go to a foodie based charity of the community's choosing. So that's something that I've been building out, and I've been thinking a lot about curating in real life experiences. Have you guys been to a crypto NFT Web3 conference? And usually the food experience is trash. And it's just what it is. Like I went to NFT Paris and I had to wait 30 minutes for like a coffee, you know what I mean? Let alone like cool food trucks or like a immersive food experience that's interesting at these conferences. And I think if we're going to move towards mass adoption with these types of events, and that it's got to be so much more than just the tech, right? You guys talk a lot about hiding the tech. I think a lot of conferences are doing things around parties and concerts with Web3 native musicians and that. And I feel like food experiences is maybe something we can elevate at these places.
So this app would be something like Yummytopia Advisor, because now we've got TripAdvisor, we've got Google reviews, but you don't know if you can trust on those reviews because you can just simply pay 500 guys. I once was approached to write down a few reviews, and they would give me 100 euros just to write down reviews across all the platforms. These reviews, I don't trust them that much, but on-chain is different.
Yeah, I think like it's quite different from, let's say, a TripAdvisor, because I think it's rather than, let's say, individual restaurants like searching for reviews and this and that, it's more so focused on individual foodies, like myself or yourself, curating like playlists around like what they recommend at a certain place, or what, and owning sort of what recommendations that they put out there, and making the whole experience around finding food more social. Like, for example, let's say, like, I know you guys are very into like drinks and what places to drink, and like and then beer, for example. So I would, for example, follow you guys for your recommendations of your playlist. Let's say Yakuza, you have a playlist for the best beer places in Prague, and then you go to Vienna, for example. Then you decide, oh man, let me make a playlist for Vienna, and then me as a follower of yourself, I can find, okay, this is what Yakuza recommends in Prague. This is what Yakuza recommends in Vienna, for example. And I think that's a really interesting social element to things. And people can, rather than rate the restaurants, rate your playlist, for example, and collect your playlist. And that, yeah, that's the idea. And I feel there's an interesting additional layer where people can earn, let's say you're very engaged with the platform, you're making playlists, you're getting lots of reviews and that for your playlists, then you unlock certain deals, for example, with restaurants we're working with or whatnot. Yeah, so there's some benefit also for you to be curating, because then you can maybe get a discount at a restaurant, or maybe you get free drinks, something like that. I think that's an interesting way to connect not only foodies with foodies, but then foodies with the restaurants in a way that's not weird. Like you said, TripAdvisor, people are getting paid just to put up different reviews and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think like a more genuine, authentic experience is what we need.
I love the idea of playlists for food, and I have two thoughts about it. In my own personal experience with beer, if someone came to me and said, show me the best beer in the Northeast of the US, I have very strong opinions about where you should start and where you should end, because you don't want to start off going to the best one, because then that week-long trip is going to be not as exciting, right? You want it to build up. And I feel like not only is that just great in itself, but then that is more data that's being created. And when you plug in something like AI, that can then learn even more. It's not just individual restaurants. Oh, here's a good Japanese restaurant. Instead of that, it's now learning, oh, this entire playlist of food experiences, they work together, and it's a highly rated playlist. So these, in combination with the individual restaurant ratings and all that kind of stuff, it's so much more data, because we're telling the AI, all of this definitely goes together, and it can figure out the reasons for that. And then if you did have some kind of advisory thing or whatever, it could then learn why these playlists are great, and then it could recreate new things, and it could find the people with the best recommendations or the best playlists that fit your style. So I am totally blown away with this. Yeah, it sounded weird at first, and then I'm like, oh no, wait, this is actually what I've always wanted. Yeah. Like, I have given people very specific, go here, drink this, drink that instructions, and I think this is going to take off. I think this idea is really well suited for what you're doing here.
I see it like that. Well, rather than asking one of your friends, you can just simply go on chain and check, like Tommy was saying, okay, what's Ryan's suggestion? I'm coming to New York, but Ryan is going to meet me only tomorrow. Where should I go tonight? Instead of going to Google or whatever, I can just go to Ryan's playlist, because I know he's going to be busy at work, he doesn't have time, blah, blah, blah. So I can just go and consult. And so this is most likely going to be built all on chain, right?
Yeah, so that's the idea. Like, when we get to building out the app, and like when that's possible capacity wise, like my goal is to have it be on chain. Like I would love for people to win, for example, like badges and rewards, and those be on chain, for example. And if they're unlocking deals, I want that to be denoted on chain. And the playlist should be on chain playlist, for example, interoperable, that can be seen on other applications as well. I don't think it should be a closed box. Yeah. The playlist shouldn't just exist on this app, for example, but they should be across apps, and that foodie experience be like interoperable across apps, and within the ethos of what we love at Lens, why we all love Lens, for example, why we love the blockchain. I think the key is to just make that experience enjoyable, make that experience abstracted away from the nitty gritty, and just really what I want to focus on is the experience that I want people to have, which is really just being social with others with food.
Connecting people, through
and
food.
connecting people. Yeah,
Lots
it shouldn't be,
of
people
interesting.
shouldn't have to think too much about it to use it. Yeah. But right now I'm focusing on the community and building that out and curating. I think you guys probably seen like on what we post, like different foodie festivals that exist, and trying to demonstrate the spirit of what we want the app to be like, minus the app at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. As someone who, I always take good pictures of my beer and my coffee, and I've always wanted some app that like people can also do the same thing. And so I get it. I like the concept of just posting the bare minimum. Just here's the concept. Here's some provable information. People can like it. People can collect it. You can prove that there's a hunger for what you're doing, so to speak. And we can see Yummytopia is something people want. And so maybe it gets the attention of other people that can help you build this app, because I think it will be a hit.
Yeah, I would hope if there are any builders who are listening right now, reach out, like any devs who want to help build this out, because I'm a non-technical person. Like I've completely leaned into all the non-technical sides. I'm very technically literate. I just can't do the code, right? I've been community building, partnerships, and working on UX, UI, and product for a while now in Web3, but the dev side of things has always been a struggle, which is why as a remote builder or indie hacker, I don't know if you guys have ever explored that whole space at all, indie hacking. That's an exciting space, but I've been trying to upskill and, try test out no code, try to teach myself how to code. But I think something like this is quite hefty of a development task.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
it needs to be built in a beautiful way that people want to make use of it. So, yeah. Always open for anyone who wants to build.
Do you remember the first dollar that you made on chain?
First dollar I made on chain. I was thinking about this the other day. It's hard to. I feel like if it wasn't from a trade, I would have bought and sold an NFT like early 2021. Bought and sold an NFT, and I think that's my first on-chain dollar.
Okay.
Actually.
Well, just because of that, I'm going to ask you: would you sell your lens profile?
Oh no, never. I still remember how excited I was to get my lens profile. Like, because I remember like really being excited by the idea of lens to begin with. I feel like it was something that I really wanted to explore, like when I first discovered it. At the time, like Lens was only doing partnerships and giving out their whitelist that way. And like, I was going through all over just to try to get like a lens profile. I ended up doing Rabbit Hole. Yeah, on Rabbit Hole, basically, they have like different tasks and it's intro to NFTs, go mint this or go do this or whatever. So you just do that and you get an on-chain certificate. So I got my whitelist through that because I had this certificate from them. And no, I would never sell it. I'm very attached to my lens profile and the lens ecosystem as a whole. A lot of OGs I remember like speaking to when I first joined Lens, they're like in the audience as well. There's people I still talk to today. Like the community is strong. I love the community.
Yeah, I love the spirit of the community on Lens. And my last question, what's your favorite beer?
My favorite beer, Belgian beers, to be honest. So I really appreciate the Trappist or the Youth is a great beer, for example. And if you want something quite heavy, is a Westmalle Triple. Have you had a Westmalle Triple? Yeah, that's a good one.
Nice. So no British beer.
No.
Carling.
Nah.
Carling. No?
Nah, like if we were going to go British, I'd go for like a punk IPA.
Cloudwater. Do you know Cloudwater?
Cloudwater. No, I don't.
Very good. Very good British. And if you listen to this sound, I just cracked open another half, all Nectaron. I'm joining you now. I can't believe it.
That was a satisfying, cheers.
Tommy, thank you so much for being here. We're very energized by this project because I think this is something that we need. And I think it's something that, there's provably interest in this. And again, I'm just so fascinated by the playlist idea and going beyond simple ratings and reviews and stuff, and actually like crafting experiences for other people. So really applaud what you're doing here. And oh my God, I had no idea you were just constantly building. Yeah, I'm so thrilled to actually like meet you now. Congratulations on everything that you've done so far, and good luck with building Yummytopia. I'm sure we'll find some builders to help you.
No, thank you guys.
The same here from my side. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And congrats for all the projects you are involved in. And yeah, this Yummytopia, yeah, it's going to blow people's mind, and I really appreciate. And it also makes people think about that. Like when you ask me, okay, give me 3 restaurants to make me a curated list, and I was like, man, I've visited so many places. It also makes me think, okay, what's really my top 3? And I realized, okay, these are my top 3. It's also good even for you to understand yourself and what you really like. So once again, congrats. Thanks for your time. We know that you are traveling today, but you could make it on time to get to the hotel and be on time in the show. Yeah, so let's keep in touch, and best of luck to all your projects. And yeah,
Oh yeah, no, thank you guys. If you guys, anyone who's listening wants to find out more about Yummytopia, you can follow us on Lens at Yummytopia. You can follow us on X at Yummytopia, and join our community. We have a great Telegram group where people are sharing different foods that they're eating, sharing like different recommendations that they have. And if you want to follow me at 0x Tommy Thomas on Lens or on X or other social medias, you can. Like I write a lot about remote building, indie hacking, traveling, and working at the same time. Yeah, so that's really my focus. So if you guys want more on Yummytopia and myself, those are the follows, and I look forward to the in real life beers with you guys.
Absolutely, same. Right back at you.
thanks everyone for attending the show. And yeah, when you're listening to our podcast, please don't forget to leave us a review and to share our podcast format.
Thanks, everyone.